Welcome to reality. You're now on the Code of Mind channel. Right now, everyone is talking about the same thing. 2026. A new cycle. A new life. New energy. Everything will change. Predictions everywhere. Astrologers, numerologists, tarot readers, each one drawing their own picture of the future. But almost nobody talks about something more important. The real shakeup doesn't happen later. It's happening right now, at the final stretch of 2025. If you feel like this year wasn't just difficult but unusually deep, draining, sometimes harsh, this video is for you. I want to open this up properly. What does a 9-year actually mean? And what is the Hermit energy? Why were so many people pushed into loneliness, almost like life forced them into it? Why did the same lessons repeat in circles? And how do you enter 2026 the right way, so it truly becomes a new cycle, not just another repeat of the old one? And at the end, I'll give you a simple but powerful practice using a New Year tree, so your desires for 2026 aren't chaotic but conscious. If you look at time as cycles, then 2025 is a 9, a finale, closure, the final accounting. 9 is not just another year. It's the last step before a new staircase. It's the moment when you can't pretend anymore that everything will somehow fix itself, that you can just endure a little longer, wait it out, sit between two chairs. The second layer is the Hermit energy. Not a weird loner detached from the world, but someone who ends up face to face with themselves and can no longer hide behind noise, parties, habits, and other people's opinions. For many, this year was about one thing: a brutally honest look at relationships where you've been unhappy for a long time. A brutally honest look at work that squeezes you dry, but you cling to it for stability. A brutally honest look at yourself, where you live by habit, not by the call of your soul. Think back to how you entered 2025. With which people? With which promises to yourself? I'll leave this job. I'll stop tolerating what's destroying me. I'll finally start listening to myself. Now look at what happened to those promises by the end of the year. For some, life placed them in a situation where the fake support simply disappeared. People you were used to leaning on left, drifted away, or revealed a different side. Places you tried to hold on to started falling apart. Old survival patterns, how to live without feeling, stopped working. And yes, it hurts. The Hermit isn't about comfort. It's about honesty. It's that moment when you're left with one question. If I remove everyone, remove expectations, remove Chiji's scenario, other people's scripts, who am I? And what do I want? That's what the 9 does. It strips away the excess so you can see your real self before the next cycle begins. Closer to the end of 2025, many people felt life pressing harder than usual. Situations started repeating so clearly that you couldn't call it coincidence anymore. Someone fell into almost the same relationship for the 3rd time, 5th time, just with a different person. Someone ended up again in the role of the rescuer, carrying grown adults on their back. Someone was handed yet another boss with the same treatment style as the last one. And you get this feeling: am I being tested? Why am I here again? Why am I back in the same story? Here's the important thought. Life isn't mocking you. It's gathering every unfinished lesson into one place, so you don't drag it into the next cycle. When a theme repeats, it almost always means there's an old choice you're still justifying. He's not that bad, he's just hot-tempered. They don't appreciate me, but at least I'm not alone. This job drains me, but at least the paycheck comes. The 9 doesn't let you escape the answer. It says, all right, same situation again. Who are you now? The one who tolerates, or the one who chooses themselves? And the closer you get to the end of the year, the clearer it becomes. Playing the old games won't work. What you could still carry in 2023, in 2024, in 2025, starts collapsing right in front of your eyes. And yes, sometimes it looks rough. Connections end suddenly. Old agreements get wiped out. Reliable people disappear. But right there you can finally see what life is truly pushing you toward and what it's taking away at any cost. 2026 is a 1, the beginning of a new 9-year cycle. If 9 is separation, then 1 is, who am I without all of that? It's the energy of the first step, personal initiative, an inner leader who no longer lives by, as they say, but sets the tone of their own reality. Imagine you're standing at the entrance to a new life. In front of you is a new field of possibilities, new people, new scenarios that can enter your reality. But the question is, who steps over that threshold? The old you, the one who tolerates for stability, who lives in resentment toward everyone, who sees themselves as a victim of other people's decisions, or the new you, who has admitted the pain, but stopped using it as the main argument for their life. A 1 doesn't work with the position of, I'm small, they broke me, let the new year fix everything for me. A 1 is, yes, they tried to break me, but now I decide where I go next. That's why the end of 2025 feels so harsh. Space itself is trying to pull unnecessary weight off your shoulders, so you don't enter the new cycle carrying suitcases full of resentment, fear, and attachment to people who stopped truly seeing you a long time ago. If you understand this right now, 2026 can become more than a pretty number on a calendar. It can become a real turning point. Here's what's important. The final exam of the year is not one universal test for everyone. It's personal. It's different for each of you. Sign 1. It's the theme that has been dragging on for a long time. Your exam is what has been hurting you not for weeks, not for months, but for years. It returns in different forms but with the same inner feeling. Every time it leaves the same aftertaste. Not again. I stepped on the same rake. For some, it's relationships. Partners who never truly choose you. Stories where you give everything and receive crumbs of attention. Scenarios where you're never in first place. For some, it's self-worth and money. Jobs where you're paid less than your work is worth, but you stay because you're terrified of being left with nothing. Fear of claiming your value, raising your price, stepping into a new path. For some, it's family and boundaries. A constant guilt toward parents, fear to say no even when they demand the impossible. The feeling that you're living not your life but someone else's program. Sign 2. Where it hurts the most, that's where the door is. The exam is almost always hiding where it's easiest for you to close your eyes. You can tell yourself it's not that bad. People live worse. What's the point of changing anything? Nothing will work anyway. But your body won't lie. Where your chest tightens, where anxiety rises, where you suddenly feel small and helpless, like a child pushed into a corner. That's where your door is. And the 9 brings you directly to that door. The phrase, choose yourself, has almost become a cliche. So let's remove the drama and see what it means in real life. Choosing yourself isn't selfishness, it's honesty. It means stopping the endless opravdanya, excuses for people who have been stepping on your throat for years while saying, but I love you. It means stopping the habit of accepting the bare minimum, in feelings, in money, in respect, just so you won't be alone. It means stopping the performance of, I'll wait a little longer, when everything inside you is already screaming, enough. Sometimes choosing yourself isn't a poetic gesture. It's very specific actions. Not texting the person who remembers you only when it's convenient for them. Not returning to the job that keeps you through fear and manipulation. Not carrying grown adults who have long learned how to use your kindness. Choosing yourself is almost always tied to fear, because you're leaving the familiar zone, even if that zone is pain and humiliation. But that choice is exactly what the 9 is testing. Are you ready to leave the victim role and stop explaining every wound through other people's decisions? The moment you stop shifting responsibility away, you take back control of your lifeline. Yes, the old world may collapse. Yes, some people will leave. Yes, there may be a period of silence and uncertainty, but it's exactly at that point that someone is born, someone who is truly ready to enter 2026 as a new cycle, not as a continuation of the same nightmare under a different date. Now about the practice, it's simple, but if you do it consciously, it can change your life in a powerful way. Here's the meaning. The New Year tree isn't just decoration. It becomes the center of your home during the holidays. People look at it, gather around it, gifts appear under it, people make wishes next to it. You can turn your tree into a map of intentions for 2026. How? Along with the usual ornaments and lights, add symbols of your key desires. Home, a tiny house ornament. A key, a small symbol that means my place in this world. Car, movement, freedom, a small keychain car, a road symbol, anything that represents mobility and personal freedom. Travel, a mini globe, plane, train, anything that says wider horizons. Love and relationships, a heart, two silhouettes, a symbol of partnership, without drama, as a sign of warm, respectful love. Purpose, work, self-realization. A small book, a microphone, a laptop, a brush, anything that means I do what speaks to my soul. One ornament, one intention, no big rituals. Just when you hang the symbol, say quietly, I choose a home where I feel safe and good. I choose movement and freedom. I'm ready for travel and new routes. I choose relationships where I don't lose myself. I choose work where I'm alive. Notice something. Not may someone give it to me. Not I hope the world makes it happen. But I choose. That matters, because 2026 is about being the leader of your own life, not a permanent beggar asking reality for permission. Let the whole composition on your tree become more than holiday decor. Let it reflect your new inner position. For many, 2025 felt too heavy, too unfair, too exhausting. But if you look at it not through the eyes of a tired child, but through the eyes of the soul, it was a year of cleansing and honesty. A year that showed you who you no longer walk with, what you no longer believe, what you no longer want to return to. And at the same time, a year that gave you a chance to see who you become when you stop clinging to the old. What feelings, what people, what kind of space you want to take with you forward. And where, in all of this, you are real. You can't enter a new cycle while still blaming everyone around you for your unhappiness and hoping that, from January, everything will change by itself. But you can enter like this. Yes, this year shook me. Yes, it took what I was holding on to. But along with that, it gave me back myself. And now I choose how I will live my next 9 years. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for your awareness. Thank you for existing. See you in the next videos. Bye.